Okay, how y'all doing? Howdy. It's gonna be one of those nights. Welcome. You know, I wasn't sure if we were even gonna be able to stream tonight, but I felt really bad about not streaming the past couple nights when we got so much going on. But you know, we're gonna keep it chill tonight. Howdy, welcome. It is time for some more Elite Dangerous hauling, because that's basically been my life for any amount of time that I have not been working the past couple nights. So, you know, I hope everyone's having a good weekend. You know, hope it's you know, it's a lazy Saturday. You know, we were going to originally do some Rebirth, but I don't know if you can tell or not, but I am still very, very, I've got a cold. I've got just a nasty, nasty cold. It probably makes me sound sexier than I actually am, but it's not so great for, you know, things like breathing. And yeah, I decided, you know what, you know, with Rebirth, I want to make sure that that is like that is like the A game, right? That is something we want to make sure is like the main event kind of thing, as opposed to something like this where it's just kind of a chill Zatsu. But yeah, I don't think if we're gonna do Rebirth that I would really be able to give it the attention that it deserves, especially for these really long 5, 6, 7 hour streams that we have been doing. So yeah, you know, with being kind of not great tonight, we're just gonna chill, have a good time, just kind of chatting. Oh, I really need like a Benadryl or something, like an antihistamine, but that stuff knocks me out. I took one last night, and I vaguely remember, I vaguely remember the evening, but it was, I don't know. Anything like that, antihistamines, Robitussin, Benadryl, you name it, whatever generics you want to call it, they definitely work, and they definitely knock me out, but they also they just make things get real weird, right? Just like the weirdest dreams, the weirdest evenings in bed that I can think of. Like, yeah, it's like a sleep, but like a half sleep. So, you know, I'm not gonna take one tonight. I've got to work tomorrow, and of course I want to stream with you guys and have some fun with that. So yeah, it's a thing. My mom got me this stuff. We'll see how this is. It is apparently like an all-natural cold remedy, and it's very sus. It's a turmeric pineapple. It's basically overloading your body with spice. It's essentially what it's gonna do. Normally, I would just get some Black Label Tapatio ramen, and that does the trick easy enough. But unfortunately, we don't have any in the house right now, as much as I wish we did, because I love Tapatio. There's only like one place anywhere within the like 2-hour radius that sells it at this point. But it is my favorite ramen that I can actually get around here. But yeah, we don't have any at the moment. So I guess I'm gonna give this a shot. I've not tried one of these yet. It's an organic immunity turmeric. They didn't even spell turmeric right. Turmeric pineapple, vitamin C, and probiotics. Apparently 91% juice. 4,200 milligrams of turmeric. So, you know, if if I die tomorrow, or I turn into some kind of weird lizard person, we have the weird probably unlicensed natural organic remedy to blame for it. And so here we go. It's like a little bottle. It's like just a little bit larger than those little 5-hour energy like buzz bottles you can get at just about any convenience store that they sell to truckers. But I gotta drink the whole thing apparently. So let's do this. It's a Suja organic, servings 1. All right. Godspeed, everybody. Here we go. Yeah, that is definitely pineapple with a lot of chili powder in it. Yep. That's what it tastes like. It's not the best. Like, just imagine if instead of like ramen, you just took the ramen packet and just boiled that in water and drank it. That's kind of what it tastes like. It's definitely spicy, but to be honest, my Tapatio is spicier. I was expecting more. You know, you throw 4,200 milligrams of turmeric at me, I'm gonna think like, okay, is it working? Vaguely. I mean, I can feel my nose clearing up. I mean, it's spicy, so, you know, you don't really have to wait a whole lot of time like you do for traditional meds, I guess. But yeah, that's basically what it's doing. It's just throwing spice at you. Oh, I can feel it in my tongue, but it's not really hitting the nose. I don't know. I'm uncertain about this natural remedy. Well, we'll give it like another 10 minutes, but yeah. Worst comes to worst, though, I'll take another antihistamine tonight and have it knock me out until work tomorrow. The problem is that it just makes me so hazy waking up, and I really don't like that whenever I have to work, right? But that's kind of what I've been dealing with, and why we're not doing rebirth. Like I said, I don't know if you can tell, but like, I cannot breathe through my nose right now. It's pretty bad. I feel fine in every other aspect. Like, it's really not like the sick. It's just allergies, right? That time of year. And so yeah, I just need to load up on some like double XL Korean spice. It's something, and kind of go from there. But anyways, you know, as far as Elite Dangerous goes, here's kind of where we're at. As you can see, we're doing good. We're on track. I think it's going okay. I've done this completely solo. You know, as far as I'm aware. I mean, it's always possible someone that's watching the streams or someone is like skipped on by and like threw a load at it or something like that. But overall, I mean, it's really nothing numbers wise. I haven't seen anything just like mysteriously go down. So yeah, this has all been solo. 45% of the way through an Ocellus starport. It's a thing. we'll just put it that way. It's a thing. I don't hate it. I think you know, I can definitely see a couple issues with it. more than anything. I think one of the big things that people are really just kind of noticing is that, like, you know, since it's currently, I think, bugged. I don't know if it's a bug or if it's on purpose or what, but once you finish your initial starport, you can immediately claim another system, right? So people have already started doing their whole daisy chaining thing, right? It's kind of buggy. It's not entirely certain whether or not it's supposed to be something you can do on purpose or not, but it's a thing, right? So there's a couple issues that I think are starting to pop up. What is, you know, the big fear that I think a lot of people had beginning before this all started is that there's just going to be a lot of systems where it's just going to be like one starport, and then the rest is just completely forgotten because they wanted to move on to get to their actual destination, right? So we'll see how that goes. I mean, 15 light year range, still not huge, but we're already starting to see some of the effects, right? And then the other thing is just the general gameplay loop is not going to be for everybody. I think that kind of goes without saying, because ultimately, as cool as it is to like build your own starport, it's still just hauling. It's just nothing but hauling. You know, you do the exploration to find one that you like, a hope that it doesn't get claimed first, and then you haul. And that's about it. And I can see for a lot of people how they can end up getting burned out about it. Like, absolutely. So we'll have to see what kind of things happen once you actually get your systems built up a little bit, because I think I can see where it will be very, very interesting as you actually build up your system, and like how you have the different types of economies interacting, how the levers are pulled and pushed for population and wealth and all of that. I think there's a lot of interesting things that can be done there. But yeah, ultimately just the hauling aspect of it is not great. So, we'll just have to see. Like, not everyone can just pop on some CCR or in this case, white bat audio and stream it for a little bit of time and, just kind of veg out to haul, right? Like, I know there are a lot of people that can only really play once or 1 or 2 hours a day, if that. They're kind of limited on time. You got a lot of space dads, I guess. I have no family. I'm single. I will die alone, so I've got plenty of free time to do this kind of stuff. That's why I'm halfway through an Ocellus, right? Solo. That's not something I don't think anyone should really expect to be the standard. With a lot of this stuff. I think for a lot of people, just doing a basics outpost is probably going to be the initial limit to what they can do. And the outposts aren't too bad, but it does mean that it's like I said, the actual hauling aspect of it isn't great if you don't have like other people to help you, right? The current go-to strat has been to build just like an outpost, right? And then, get the timer taken care of, since you've only got 4 weeks to do the initial construction. And then you can kind of go from there. That seems to be the go-to strat, but I think there's going to be a lot of cases where people build that initial outpost so they don't have to worry about the timer, and then everything else just gets kind of stuck halfway through. Right, because it would make sense. Hey, we got the little outpost done. Let's go ahead and build a big outpost. Let's build our big Ocellus or Coriolis or something like that. And then they actually get to see it and how many materials are required for something like this. And it just unless you are like a part of a major squadron or do a lot of hauling and just enjoy it, that's not something that is really it's pretty unreasonable. Overall though, like as someone that does enjoy hauling, I'm not having too much of an issue with it. My main issue is this stuff right here. It's been something everyone has talked about. Everyone on the forums has been talking about it. The CMM materials, right? The composites, CMM composites, whatever the name of it is. Yeah, I'm hoping that a lot of this will get fixed once the CG megaships come out. For me personally, though, like I've got a decent loop going on with CMM composites. Like it's not great, but at this point, I need far fewer of those than I do of steel. But the issue is that they're starports, right? Like that is really the main issue more than anything else. Like I can deal with a little bit lower supply or not filling up an entire hold. I've got other things that I can put in there in the meantime, right? The annoying part of it is the fact that it's surface ports. And so it means like all of my hauling is taking about twice as long as it would if I was just going from starport to starport, right? Landing on surface stations, no matter how you do it, you can be like the best FA off the pilot out there in the world. It still takes almost double the time because ultimately like the starport and entering super cruise, orbital cruise, that's technically like another hidden loading screen is what it's doing. So like technically, like literally and from a technical perspective, it is twice as long because you're hitting an extra loading screen to get down to the surface of the planet. So it's just not, it's not great. And how many do we even have here? See, 274, like this is barely worth it, right? If this was a starport, I would not care. I would not care at all that I'm only getting 274 out of these today. But the fact that I'm getting down here, barely getting any CMM composites, basically have to load up on aluminum. Like, aluminum's one of those things that's available at orbital starports. So I basically just spent twice as long for the same amount of materials as I would have just gotten just going to my normal starport, right? So yeah, that's really, I think, the big frustration. Like, the CMMs, I genuinely don't have too many issues with it. After they've done all of the like boosts to the supply and regeneration rate, it hasn't been too terrible, but the fact that it is only surface ports is really starting to get kind of frustrating. So yeah, I'm just trying to get this done as fast as I can. I only need 19,000 more, which is not a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. That's like it's what, 21 trips if I can find full loads each time, which isn't going to happen. So obviously it's going to be more than that, but sometimes we get a little lucky, right? Yeah, and this is a station that said boom, by the way. So I mean, this is, other people are hitting this up, and yeah, it's just really annoying. I've got a loop of a few different places that I go, and this is one of them. There we go. So yeah, they need to either lower the amount of CMMs required to finish a station like this, or do another pass increasing the regen. I'm hoping the mega ships take care of a lot of it, and then you would also have an actual orbital station to go to instead of having to do surface landings. But yeah, it is very frustrating. Like, once we get these CMMs done, like, we're gonna breeze through the rest of this. Like, yeah, I need like 50,000 steel and 36,000 titanium or something, but that's just starport to starport. I can fly through that pretty quickly. But there's no easy way to get around the surface ports. I just landing on them and then getting off of them, because you just saw what happened. Oh, my target is behind the planet, and I have to untarget and retarget once I intersect. Like, it's just very frustrating. It's just very annoying. That adds a lot of time that should not be. It's not necessary. So it does make it. It does extend the amount of time required to finish this stuff more than it actually needs to. Needs to be. There we go. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. But we're down to the big four. That's we're making our way. Once we get CMMs done, I think we'll be able to finish everything up. I would like to get CMMs done hopefully tonight or tomorrow. It's not looking good tonight if everyone else is hammering them too. And I'm like out in the middle of nowhere, so like there shouldn't be that many people around me trying to do it, but who knows? Because there clearly are some. But yeah, if I can get through that, I think I can get this Ocellus up and ready by the time the tick hits on Thursday, because we are really making good time. I'm doing like 20% a night at this rate or something like that. It's definitely slowed down now that I've been focusing on the CMMs, but what can I do about it? Like, if everyone else is hitting them up too and the boom stations are still not resupplying at a decent rate, there's not much I can do. It's just incredibly dumb that it's like the only thing. I guess ceramics too. You need a lot of ceramics, but those come from the same stations, right? And you don't need them in the quantities that you need CMMs. Like, if they, I kind of think, the more that I've seen it posted, that they did accidentally swap CMM composites with copper in terms of the amount required. Like, that actually makes a lot of sense given the other metals. Yeah, like, I would have been done by now if this had been copper required instead of CMMs, right? So yeah, I'm kind of there with everyone, but for me personally, I think the supply it's getting better. Now it is Saturday night, so I'm imagining there's quite a few people that are all kind of hammering the same systems for this stuff right now. But for me, it is generally the fact that it's all surface ports more than anything else. Like I can handle the space stuff. I've actually seen a lot of people talking and trying to give ideas and that kind of thing. I'll be honest. I've barely used my FC for any of this. I'm gonna move my helmet. There we go. Sorry. I see a lot of people, once again, because this is Elite Dangerous, describing efficiency and that kind of thing. Honestly, if you are only one stop away from your major supplier for a lot of this stuff, which I am, FCs are actually quite a bit slower. I know a lot of people are going to hear that and they're going to be like, "What do you mean you're doing bulk hauling and all this other stuff?" Just because you technically own 27,000 or whatever in your hold doesn't mean you're actually hauling 27,000 at a time. You're still hauling 784 at a time, right? Except now you're doing it twice. So, if I do have it loaded up right now with a little bit of stuff just because it helps me kill a little bit of time. But yeah, I barely used it. I think this is only like the third trip I've made. For one thing, only half of my hold is free. The rest is all tritium from my last big trip out. So I'm only hauling like 7K at a time or something like that. But yeah, when you actually look at it, like I don't care what the spreadsheets say. I care what the stopwatch says more than anything. And yeah, the FC is quite a bit slower. It's mainly used if you're going to be doing like big like community things. Like if you have a squadron that's unloading or loading for you, it would be quite a bit faster, right? Or if your station is significantly far away from your drop-in point, you would definitely want to use an FC. But my ship is fairly close. It's close enough that SC handles most of it. So yeah, whenever you actually start hauling, if you take a look at it, like it's much faster for me to just do the one loading screen each way to get to my main supplier and back than it is to fly my FC down there, load it up, wait for the timer to actually get me back to the ship, and then do the same thing in reverse. It's significantly more time. Right now it's not too big of an issue because I can load the thing for like little bits at a time, and then let the FC jump timer do its thing and then just keep hauling while that timer is going. So I'm kind of like doing a little bit of both, because right now the timer is close to like an hour and 15 minutes if you even get a slot. It's been timing out for I think most people, but yeah, that's what I'll do is I might do a little bit of loading just because it is a lot of steel and it gives me an idea of how much I'm moving at a time. But yeah, in the time it would have taken me to like move this amount of steel from the FC, I could have just done it traditionally, right? It's only because I've been trying to fly around and get CMM deposits and that kind of thing that's taking a little bit extra time out of all of it. But yeah, a lot of people are looking and being like, "Oh no, the FC's faster." And to that I say, have you solo hauled 120,000 tons in the past 3 days, 4 days, whatever it is since it went live? No? Then I don't give a shit about the efficiency, because that's what I've actually hauled in person according to my own numbers. So that's kind of where we're at, right? When someone has hauled more than that solo, then they can come to me and tell me that I'm being wrong about it. That's my thoughts about it. But yeah, it wouldn't be so frustrating if the transfer all the ship would work, but oh, look at that. It's still something that they have never figured out. It's still one of those eternally broken things. And yeah, sitting here waiting to do this the entire time. I know that there's a way you can like mess around with the market and like buy and sell it back to yourself or whatever. But even that takes a little bit of setup time. So yeah, once you add up all of the little bits of things that add to the time of an FC, I think it is actually quite a bit faster to just fly, just hop in and go. Now the one thing is, I will say, you're less likely to get interdicted, because I have actually gotten a couple of interdictions in my own system that technically is not even populated yet. I don't know how that works or why it's doing that. There's no population. There should not be anyone interdicting you in the middle of an empty system. But because, you know, it's close to the bubble, I guess, there are a few people that can follow you, I guess, from previous systems. I don't entirely understand. So, you know, even without my shields on, because I took off the shields for an extra cargo rack, even without my shields, they're not going to be able to take me down. I mean, it's a cutter, but you could potentially crash into them if they load and during like pop in when you're actually unloading at your colonization ship. I've had a couple people in my discords that have had that happen to them, which doesn't seem all that great, right? So yeah, there's that. But yeah, FCs can cut down on that if you can get a good thing. And that's the other thing, is you also have to hope that during all of this you get a good parking spot, because otherwise, with the way timers are right now, you're looking at another hour and 15 minutes just to move around the same planet to get a good parking spot, right? If you're like behind a planet from your destination, then you know what, you're gonna have travel time anyways, like no matter what. Might be slightly shorter, but it's probably not going to be enough to be faster than just flying on your own. So there's that. You know, I think this is just another case of a lot of people who have never done hauling are learning a lot about hauling. Yeah, the reason the Pilots Trade Network exists is not necessarily. It's not necessarily to like help you as an individual learn how to haul individually. It's supposed to be a network, and that's why the FCs are so important for it, is because they've got a bunch of people hauling and loading for you, and that does make a big difference. You know, if you got a squadron, then yeah, the FCs will be a lot faster. But yeah, for me personally, it's just been much faster to just haul the steel on my own. Just deal with one or two loading screens instead of the FC stuff. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. Either way, no matter how you want to do it, the only way to actually get it done is to get in here and just do it. Right? The only way to complete the station is to get in and haul. There's no other way around it. Ugh. But you know, we're making good time. We're doing okay. It's just yeah, we're down to the end. I mean, you know, the good news is the CMMs are the smallest thing that I need. It's just, unfortunately, with them being all surface ports, I can guarantee you that if everything was all equal, if there was enough supply of everything here and I did not have to worry about waiting for anything to respawn, it would still be faster for me to complete the steel than it would be the CMM composites, solely because they are all surface ports. Like, that is how much of a difference it actually makes going to a spaceport compared to a surface port. So yeah, that to me is the most frustrating thing. And then the supply issues are just kind of like the cherry on top of it all, right? It's just the extra little bit of the shit sandwich, I guess. Where there we go. Oh, bear with me a bit. I told you it was gonna be a sickly stream. I'm making it as best as I can. That's okay. I got my water. I've been eating okay. What do they say? Starve a fever, feed a cold. Is that how it's supposed to go? Because I've been feeding the cold. I've been a hungry guy. But it ain't really working. I'm still, you know, barely managing my existence. So yeah, it's a weird weekend. It's a weird schedule. You know, moving forward, I think the next couple of weeks, I'm basically just working the weekends. So, you know, our Saturdays and Sundays will mostly be taken care of. This is my first actual Saturday off in a while. So I'm gonna spend some time tonight just after stream, just enjoying my time and watching a little soccer, watching a little footy. We got a late game tonight, but yeah, I think moving forward, it's mostly going to be weekends are going to be kind of taken up for the most part. But that also means a lot of streams throughout the week. So hopefully we'll be able to help you guys out with getting through those work days, right? But yeah, you know, there's been a lot of stuff that I really wanted to do, but yeah, there's the everyone's been talking and playing Monster Hunter Wilds. But, you know, unfortunately, the only thing I'm hunting is a new job because I'm making nothing. I'm losing money working here. It's just I'm losing it a little bit slower than I would if I had no job, right? So, you know, I mentioned a little bit earlier, we might actually start opening up memberships, and I might actually try opening up commissions for some live 2D rigging. So keep an eye out. I did not buy my live 2D license like I had hoped to this weekend. Gonna give it another week just to see what the paycheck's like. But I mean, you guys can always help support that too. Yeah, I have it as the Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy set goal right now, but it doesn't necessarily have to stay just for that. It'll all go back to the channel one way or the other. Yeah, I think it's time. You know, they're doing a lot of renovations in our area, and a lot of new retail stores are going to be moving in, so I might try finding a different one to move to. As much as I have loved my bookstore, like bringing me in for only 8 hours a week to just stand and stare at the cash register, it's not really the most engaging thing in the world. That's why I don't work more hours there, is because they don't move me around. If they moved me around, I'd be happy to like work more hours. If they put me on the, if they actually put me on the floor. So, you know, I think I might start looking around and try and find something else in the area. And maybe try getting a few more hours in, because yeah, it's not good at the moment. You know, aside from that, it shouldn't affect the streams all that much. We're just gonna keep doing our thing, try growing the channel as best we can. You know, ultimately, I don't have a whole lot of options in this area other than like retail jobs. So that's good news. That's good news for the channel. It means we can still keep focusing on this as best as we can, and you know, this will always be the primary focus. So yeah, just kind of keep an eye out. But yeah, it wasn't great. I did my taxes, and it was pretty bad. You know, I'm a pretty able-bodied worker. Like you guys who watch my streams, it's not too, you know, I'm fairly capable, and I still made, I think, only like $8,000 all of last year. Yeah, that was for the entire year. Like that's pretty sad. Like that's an actual job. That's what I'm getting paid in an actual job. And the thing is, like, I'm fairly sure even if I increase the number of hours that I'm available, that they would not necessarily even give them to me, because they are trying to keep it on such a skeleton crew right now. So you know, good old venture capitalism, I guess. You know, we know where Barnes and Noble is going to be going in the next few years. You just gotta wait. It's always a long, slow death, but you know, that's what always happens with venture capitalists. So, you know, and that's kind of where we're at. It's pretty pathetic. But on the flip side is, you know, if I'm only making $8,000 a year from an actual job, Like, surely we can get that from YouTube, right? Surely we can put in the work and do that from our streams. Like, the bar is not that. The bar is practically in the dirt, right? The bar is practically with the mole people at the center of the earth. So like, we can do it. We can build the channel. We can grow it as best we can. So yeah, we'll just kind of keep doing our thing, right? And keep hoping for the best. And yeah, we'll just we'll keep trucking. Space trucking in this case, I guess. Here we go. But aside from that, yeah, like I said, I hope people are having fun with colonization. It's definitely a lot of work, but I think once people start getting their outposts done and start looking at like other things they can do and how the system interacts, I think there's a lot to it. It is kind of interesting. I don't think the actual gameplay loop is all that great. The actual hauling is not very fun, I'll be honest. And I say this as someone that likes trucking. I did finally hit Elite 4 in trade, as you can see, so we're getting there. But it's still not super engaging at the amounts that you need to do on a very, very strict timer, right? It's really the timer, I think, that's hurting more than anything else. See, here we go again. Only 481, basically a worthless trip. This is another station that should be full. They should have more than enough, because we are in. This is a station that is in boom, and it's still not refreshing fast enough. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. It's just not great. But in terms of like the actual planning of these systems, I am kind of excited for all of that. I think how they have managed to make the different stations have different levers and different options for how you want to affect the space you're in. I think all of that stuff is really interesting. We're already trying to figure out and how to plan certain things in our own space, right, for our squadron, and we don't really know entirely how it's all going to work and all of this other stuff, right? So there's a lot of potential there that I think it sounds really fun. But then you get down to it, and it's like, to have that kind of fun actually planning out your system, your only option is to just haul it. There's literally nothing else you can do, and the amount that you need is just so ridiculous that it's not great. Like, they really just need to lower everything across the board. Like, a month is not like, we're gonna get this done this month. I would like to get it done before the tick on Thursday, but either way, even if I just barely miss out on that, I'm halfway through an Ocellus solo, so like a month is more than enough time, I think, to complete it if you are putting in the work. But it's still, that's just for one base. Like, the way that they have all of this balanced is basically operating on the assumption that you're only going to be doing like one system and building that one system up as much as possible, and then that's it, right? Like, I do want to build up my system. I think it's going to be a very, very nice system. There's a lot of potential. I have like 28 orbital spaces and like 22 landable spaces, and pristine rings and stuff that I think have a lot of has a lot of potential. But once I get that built up, I'm gonna want to do it again in a different system. We're gonna be chaining these things out, so yeah, they really need to just lower things across the board. It's like they want us to colonize systems, but they don't. Like, they're making it as difficult as they can to actually do the colonization, right? And so, like, there's no lack of space. We're not going to have issues running out of space. Maybe they just don't want the bubble to get too big, but if that was the case, then just say that. Just put a limit to how far out the bubble can expand, right? So yeah, we'll see how it goes though. I mean, they did say they're going to be tweaking the numbers, but to be honest, the only thing they've really tweaked has been the CMM composites. I haven't noticed anything else really getting any extra work done on it. Insulating membranes can be kind of tricky for some people. I didn't have too much trouble just because there's a few orbitals near our space that sell a ton of them. But they haven't really done any adjustments to the actual requirements on anything. You know, the actual amounts, those tens of thousands, are they've pretty much stayed the same since the patch came out. So for being a beta that's supposedly having, you know, live balancing at any given time, they've only really done it once, and I think they're going to need to do a lot more than that, or people are really going to stop doing the colonization stuff very, very quickly. Not everyone can be not everyone can be a VTuber with a lot of free time like I am. They can haul this kind of stuff all day, every day. For a lot of people, and I do mean a lot, I think it's going to be fun once, and exactly once, and then that's going to be it. They're going to have their name on their system, and that's going to be the only system they even bother with. Or, like I said, the opposite problem, which we're also already seeing, which is squadrons that want to put in the barest amount of work into every system so that they can daisy chain out as fast as possible. Just get a bunch of systems that are just one starport and nothing else, because no one wants to go through and actually build up some of those things. All right. So yeah, they're gonna have to do a numbers pass. I just don't see this being viable if they're still going to require 50,000 CMMs for a tier 3 port. On top of everything else, right? On top of the steel, on top of the aluminum and all of that. It's too much. It's absolutely ridiculous. And I understand the concept of like, oh, well, you know, that's supposed to be a group effort kind of thing, or that's supposed to be something you're supposed to build up to. It's not like supposed to be the first thing you put down. Like, no, you gotta remember, first impressions are everything in a game. And this is supposed to be a long-term commitment. Like, who cares if the tier 3 spaceport takes slightly less time, because the concept is that we're going to be doing this to more than one system. I cannot reiterate this enough. We're supposed to be building out and expanding to more than one. So like, it's not going to hurt anyone if they lower it slightly. I have noticed just from people that have started building their outposts and like settlements and that kind of thing, a lot of those seem reasonable. Some of that stuff seems kind of wild. You need like lichen and that kind of stuff for some of these spaceports, which is interesting. So, you know, those numbers seem pretty good. But yeah, for being first impressions, I think they're going to have trouble with a lot of people burning out really fast if they don't start lowering the amounts needed for some of this stuff. Right. So yeah, you know, I'm also kind of curious. We've been talking this over in Discord, like how the BGS and power play is going to affect a lot of this kind of stuff too. Like, just the general impression that I'm getting. You know, we were initially worried about, oh, what if we accidentally move an enemy faction in, right? Because we've been, you know, there's a chance you can move a player-made faction in as that secondary faction. Maybe it's someone that you've been fighting with in your main system for a while, right? I don't see that being too much of an issue. Maybe after a little bit of time, but like, it just seems like a really bad idea to try and move in like as an enemy player and mess around with the BGS in someone else's system, knowing full well that the architect can come in and just start building new things, right? It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to go in and try messing around too much in someone else's space, because it is someone else's space at this point, right? So yeah, you know, if a system's been fully built, maybe then we'll start seeing some interesting things. But I think just from what I've been seeing, I think a lot of people are going to be just kind of sticking with their own space and their own systems. I don't think we're going to have too many issues with people, you know, messing around just because their faction just so happened to move into a space with an enemy group around it, right? Just seems like a bad idea. It seems like a real bad idea to mess with someone else's stuff when the architect can move and can add more things to it that's gonna make your day real bad, right? Like I like the theory of it. I like the concept of the fact that power play and BGS will be expanding a little bit. But in terms of like actual realistic practicality, I don't think we're gonna see too much of it to start. It's one of those things they'll have to wait a little bit. But aside from that, I mean, I think most people, now that they're starting to figure out a lot of the systems and like the general strats, you know, building the outpost first and then going from there. I think people are having a decent amount of time with it. Like, it is kind of cool to own your own system and be able to build it. I know there's a little bit of frustration now with people trying to figure out the construction points and how all of that works. I've seen a couple posts on Reddit kind of going over the flow chart of your build order, since some buildings require, you know, buildings of a lower tier to be, you know, moved in and that kind of thing. So you can go give those a look. You know, since I'm building a tier 3 right off the bat, I shouldn't have to worry about that as much. But I think there is still maybe like 1 or 2 things that I'm going to have to build to open up other things. But yeah, I think people are having a good time and are kind of interested in seeing how all of that is going to work and how that affects the system in the long term, in terms of like the wealth and happiness and that kind of thing, how much money you actually get, that kind of thing. Now, from the way that I was reading it, I think everyone is getting a little confused with the cap on the passive income. Everyone's making it sound like there's a cap of 5 million credits per system. I don't think the way that I was reading it, that is not the case. You're taxed on everything over 5 million. But from the way it was worded, it can go over 5 million. There's just a tax on anything over that 5. So, you know, until people start getting these systems built up, we won't know for sure. That's still kind of a ways away, right? And FDev does not have the best of histories when it comes to the copy editing of a lot of their press release stuff. So we'll just have to wait and see. But that's how it read to me. As an actual editor, that's the way that it was worded to me. But anything can happen. So we'll just have to wait and see what that looks like. But the way it was worded, it's like there's going to be a tax on anything over 5 million, but there's not necessarily a cap on how much a system can actually put out for passive income. And of course, if you have more than one system, then obviously you're getting that for every system. It does stack, right? So yeah, we'll just have to wait. I'm still a ways away. You know, we're still 120 something loops, 150 something loops from getting this thing finished. And you know, we're gonna do what we can, enjoy our time with it, try and do our best to find some kind of loop that isn't too terribly punishing. Oh, but it is nice to be under 20,000 CMMs. Like, for me, that's always been my bar. It doesn't matter if I'm exploring, if I'm, you know, hauling, anything like that. Once numbers start entering like the teens, it starts to feel like home stretch, right? Anything like if I'm out exploring, anything that's like 20 jumps or more starts feeling like a slog, right? Once you start getting 19, 18, 17, and then it starts to be like, okay, we're getting close. And if you've ever been on a big road trip, you kind of know what I'm talking about. Like, you can just kind of feel when you're starting to get to your destination, right? Like, everyone has a different bar of where that starts. For me, it's anything under 20. And yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. It feels like it's in the realm of doable, right? Approachable. We're out of the slog. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's still gonna be the pain in the ass. You know, 19,000 whatever we're at right now, CMM composites, that's still 22, 23 runs, but it's still okay. It's entering like that area where I can maybe put off on doing that until I get some of the other stuff down a little bit more, like the titanium and things, and then maybe wait and see what the mega ships are going to look like from the CG. See what the Brewer mega ships actually offer us, because if they offer CMM composites, you know, there's no guarantee that they're going to be close to us. That could be a bit of an issue. We don't know, you know, where they are going to be placed around the bubble. But, you know, I don't mind doing a little bit of long haul if I have to. If we're down to the final stretch, then yeah, I'll just put on a fuel scoop and go. I've hauled enough passengers to deal with that. But I would like to get as close to done as I can. I mean, preferably I would just like to be done in general before Thursday. But I don't know if we're going to hit it. I mean, that's a lot, guys. I mean, look at that. This is what, 247,000 or whatever, 247,000 tons. Once you add everything up for an Ocellus, I think that's what the baseline is. And we're about halfway. So, I mean, that's a lot of hauling. That is, it's a pain in the butt. But again, every time I get myself down, I start hyping myself up again. It's just the eternal cycle, right? But again, there's more. A large portion of that has been from CMMs. I would estimate I would be done about 70% done by now if it wasn't for the surface ports. But the fact that I've been hitting these up and trying to get these done before I get everything else done, surface ports have literally added almost 30% more progress to my goal than what it should have been, right? Like if I wanted to go up here and just like start hauling some titanium, it's so fast, it's so easy. Vanaquea or whatever it is. What is my destination? Vanayequi, yeah. Like it's got 3 ports. 2 of them are like metal refinery ports that sell a ton of stuff. They're really not that far from the jumping point. They're like, I don't know, 100 light seconds or something, if that. So it's so fast getting my titanium and that kind of thing. So let's actually go ahead and start working on steel and titanium a little bit, shall we? Like just a straight A-B back and forth, it really takes no time at all. And I mean, you'll be able to kind of compare the times as well. Like how I was saying, it's not really worth it to use an FC if you're just going 1 jump away, because you got to double up on everything, right? You got to load it, but then you also got to unload it, and then you also got to wait up on the times. So, you know, we'll see how long this takes. But it's really not amount of time, really not bad at all. And that's with like auto everything. You guys know me, I don't deal with manual BS. Can't judge me, I'm sick. It's that's the rules, aren't it? Isn't it? There we go. So yeah, 50,000. Hey, if I was in a medium, this would probably even go a little bit faster, but I'd get so much less per haul in my T8. But you know, it is much more maneuverable than trying to use the cutter for everything. So yeah, you've got our flight time. It's really not too bad. Hopefully it's not behind the planet right now. I have had this one go behind the planet a couple times. My own system, which I bought with money. Yeah, see, that's the thing, is like I don't understand why we're getting interdictions in our unpopulated systems. It doesn't make any sense. Like, I know there's traffic going back and forth from the ship, but like even then it feels kind of weird. The only times I've ever really had it happen to me though has usually been when I was passing through another system along the way. Like, it's almost like they followed me from that system, which kind of makes sense. Uninterdited by diamond frogs. Yeah, we interdict our own. That's just how it is. We do be like that. When flying with the frogs, the most dangerous thing in any combat zone is other frogs. We've done it. I've been in a couple wings, and sure enough, we bump into each other all the time. we are our own worst enemies. Here we go. All right, so yeah, let's I think titanium is probably what I'm gonna start working on next. Like, anytime I'm working on CMM composites, because they're kind of close to each other, if I really do have to go halvesies, I'll load up some aluminum while I'm down there on the surface port. But steel and titanium, that's going to take a little bit of time. But again, it's just a straight shot, so it shouldn't be too bad. But yeah, you know, hopefully that means once the CMMs are done, aluminum won't be that far behind, because it really does feel like I've been doing half and half. I mean, ultimately, it's really just about the total amount of tonnage. You know, it doesn't matter what you're hauling. You can mix and match as much as you want. It's still going to be the same amount of total tonnage. So yeah, just throw in whatever you got to get in. It's just, for me personally, with doing the surface ports, I want to make sure that I'm getting the most out of these CMM composites as I can, because it does take a little bit extra time, and it's just really not worth it landing on a planet just to load up more steel. It's so much faster. I mean, look at how much faster that was just auto docking at the station than trying to like fly around the planet to try and dock at a surface port and fly down to the surface, right? It's just the completely fool-ass behavior. Here we go. Like, if I get down to a surface port and it doesn't have CMMs, it's just 100% not worth it. All right, and then just leaving, because whenever I start heading back, you know what? Look at that. It just automatically, you know, sets where I need to go. I don't have to like untarget it, so I can enter Super Cruise, and then, you know, enter Super Cruise SCA around the planet because it's hidden. So they're just annoying. Now I get angrier and more annoyed the more that I think about them. Like, it just really is the absolute dumbest possible scenario they could have added in, making CMM deposits as needed and necessary as they are. Like it's not even the supply that makes me mad. It's the fact that they're only surface ports. That's really what frustrates me more than anything else. Like, the combination of low supply with being surface ports, like, if they are going to be surface only, then they need to increase the supply. They need to do another doubling up of the regen rate and another, like, 5 times of the supply, like the cap. It's just absolutely dumb. Ugh. And we're busy tonight, but yeah, see, look at this. Look at this. I don't have to fly around the planet. It's not blocked by anything. I can just go ahead, jump right back over. None of this target obscured BS, right? It's so nice. So nice. You can kind of see why it would be so much faster. Now, there is this bug with the cutter, and this has only happened in my cutter, where it cannot figure out the ship trajectory. And I don't know what the deal is with it. I don't know how it starts it. There we go. It's just such a weird bug. Feel like it has something to do with the speed, but I've never been able to like pinpoint exactly what the cause is on it. But it only happens on my cutter. Get back down there and do another round. But yeah, hopefully, you know, we'll get this done by Thursday, and then I can kind of slow boat it. You know, I will immediately start another colony, You do not have to wait for the tick, although, like I said, it has been slightly buggy in terms of how it works. You can immediately start another colony from your primary ship once it's done completed. But like I said, it's very finicky. So I will probably start another one, but probably, nothing to really stream about it. And then maybe start working on some side stations in here, right? But, hopefully we'll get this done. And then, for most of this week, I think it's just all going to be Rebirth, FF7 Rebirth. I really, really want to get back into it. Because it's been a couple days and I've been thinking about, where we're going next. Because we're on Mount Coral right now. And, we got Barrett's Past and all of that stuff. And the gold saucer looming above us. Hopefully we'll get there one day. So I am really excited to get back in. It's just, yeah. I'm just not feeling the best to give that the attention that it needs. I think there's a lot of different ways to handle streams. And some people are just like, stream whatever. Stream anytime that you're playing a game, right? It's all about throwing out the content and just streaming as much as possible. And I think that is kind of important. For me, though, like I said, I stream a lot of the things that I like to watch, which is why I don't watch certain VTubers, because it's not, their personalities or whatever. Like they're not necessarily assholes. It's just they're not the kind of content that I watch. I watch things because I like it feeling more like a show than just hanging out with the streamer, right? And in this case, we've got our like Zatsudan streams like we've got right now, right? Just kind of hanging out, just chatting, as we got a lot of hauling we got to do, right? Final Fantasy Rebirth to me is more like a primetime show, right? Like we want to make sure that when we sit down and watch that or play through that, like that's kind of a big AAA event game, right? And it's something with it being a big story that we're only going to do once on the channel. It's not like Monster Hunter or something like that where we can just hop in and stream that really anytime and have some fun. We're experiencing Rebirth for the first time and the story for the first time. So like we want to make sure to like give it the attention it deserves. Like I will say, whenever I do try and stream, that not all streams are created equal. There are a lot of differences depending on what kind of game we're playing and what kind of mindset we got to do to go into it. So usually if it's like a really popular game, the reason, I might not stream it all in a row is just because I want to make sure that some games do get a certain like baseline of attention or a certain baseline of energy that is not necessarily required for other types of streams, right? Like we're sitting here out in space hauling. I don't think it's going to require like the most energy. We want to have fun. I'm doing the best I can. Not being able to breathe through like half my nose right now, but we have fun. But it's not the same kind of energy or the same kind of interest that like playing through Rebirth for the first time would have. So yeah, hopefully I'll start feeling a little bit better as the weekend progresses. And we start getting into some warmer weather. I think that's just really what it is just the weather's all over the place. But we are a step closer to spring. Which one's the really horny holiday? Is it May Day? Is it May 1st? I think it's the one. Not that I ever really get to have any fun with that, but I think that's the one, right? So we are getting a little bit nicer out. I would like to be able to like feel a little bit better so I can actually go outside and maybe enjoy the sunshine a little bit before it starts getting super stormy. Because if I wait too long, it's just going to be nothing but tornadoes back and forth for like 3 months. And then anytime I want to go out to play disc golf, it's just going to be like the day before, the day after, it's already stormed and it's just nothing but mud, right? So hopefully I can start feeling a little better and go out, actually touch grass a little bit. Give me a moment. I am going to make another cup of coffee. So I will be right back, and then we'll do another little bit of hauling, shall we? All right, there we go. And I got my backup bottle of water too once this coffee's done. So don't worry, I'm not being the usual gamer that I am. Just sitting here with a bag of Doritos and you know, soda. Although we do that plenty of times on the stream as it is. But I've even been good lately. I have not touched nicotine for the past like couple of days. It's been the first time in a long time that I've managed to go even that long without the vape or anything like that. I'm trying my best. I would really like to cut back on that, if not stop completely. So yeah, I just, you know, after doing my taxes and looking at my bank account and the fact that I'm losing money going to an actual job, right? Not great, but a large part of that is also, you know, like I was doing my budget and like, man, these things are more expensive than I thought. And I would like to not be spending that kind of money when I need to be either saving up or spending that on things that are actually important. So it's not just for my health, it's also for my wallet. So wish me luck. We're gonna try my best. Oh, it's rough. It's been a long time, me and the American spirits, but it's for the best. Like this shit is not cheap, so maybe that'll help out a little bit. Where were we going? I gotta remember now. Oh yeah, it was Olson's. This one's kind of weird. I think this is the place that we logged in at when I first started the stream, so I don't think there's probably a whole lot that's been rebuilt. But this one's kind of a weird one because it's a very small planet. I don't know if you saw that when we were leaving, but it is absolutely tiny and has got either a fast orbit or a fast rotation. I don't entirely know which one. And when you're approaching it, like it's a little different. Like it kind of takes a second for it to lock in, and it kind of feels like you're floating around trying to catch the thing until it like locks into the gravity of it. So yeah. But this one, it's not in boom state. I'm not super confident that it's going to have a ton. But it's also a case of like, okay, well, let's at least give it a look and see. Like it refreshes every 10 minutes. But when you have this many commanders trying to get stuff, it's not great. Yeah. I've seen some people post on like the official forums talking about, well, you know, this is one step closer to player-driven economy. And it's like, if it was truly player-driven economy, like that means that we would also be crafting these things too. We have no say in the crafting and supply of these things. Like if you want it to be a player-driven economy, then it also has to have the player-made aspect of it as well, just like any other MMO. So it's not really, we're not really quite there yet. It's nowhere close to being a player-made. Player-driven is a little bit more accurate, but it's still not great. You know, if they want to make it player made, then we need options to actually make this stuff. And I guess that could potentially be something that we are going to be able to do as we get these systems built up. Like that seems to be what everyone is doing first, is that they're making stations that can make the CMM deposit or composites. But that kind of feels like maybe the wrong way to go about it, because everyone is going to be doing that. I do not think we are going to have issues with CMMs after this first couple of weeks. I think either the mega ships are going to take care of it, or people that have their systems built up are going to have plenty that produce it. So like I would focus on some other things right now. I would focus on the things that you actually want to do with your squadron or your power play or something like that. Like focus on, hey, do I need more military? Do I need, you know, do I want the money? you know, those kind of things, and do that instead of worrying about just building, you know, a refinery because it's going to give you CMM composites. Like, I feel like that's kind of the wrong way to go about it for now. Now, if you start expanding the bubble way out there, or like you're daisy chaining and have kind of a weird, like, kind of line thing going on, then it might be a little bit different story. Because yeah, if you're out there kind of like on the Colonia Bridge or something, you're probably going to want places that can make that kind of stuff. But while we are here, like right next to the bubble, it's not really that big of an issue, right? While it's still going, like, in the gold rush phase, just go ahead and make what you think is more fun or appropriate for your squadron than worrying about CMMs. But yeah, I do genuinely think that that's going to be a problem that's going to end up fixing itself pretty quickly. You know, unfortunately, it's the weekend, so I don't anticipate, even if they do make more changes to it, I don't think they're going to be doing that at least for the next day or so, right? So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, it'll be more than likely you won't see a whole lot of changes until, you know, at least Monday at the latest. So, all right, let's see here. Like I said, I've got a loop of like 5 or 6 of these things that I've been going through, and it just really has not had much luck. The one at like Tionis or whatever the name of that station is, has been my best option. You know, when they are stocked up and ready to go, there's a lot there. But there's just so many people trying to get this stuff that it doesn't stay stocked for very long. This station is not in Boom. But thankfully, there's not too many people that have been going here from what I can tell. So we'll just have to wait and see. Ugh. I'm like trying to wait for the sneeze to come out, and it's not happening. Oh God, it burns. It burns. It burns. All right. Come on, give me something. Don't give me this 200 BS. It gave me the 200 BS. Well, you know, a little bit at a time, I guess. So yeah, this is basically all I've been doing. Like, it just really sucks to spend this much time. I mean, you saw how long this took compared to the orbital we were just at, right? It's a significant difference, and it's really fucking annoying when you go this far and there's nothing, right? If it was an orbital, then I wouldn't feel bad about picking up some other stuff to go with it. But because it's not an orbital, I just spent twice as long for the same amount of materials as I could have had. That's what feels bad. That's what feels the worst part about all of it, really. More than anything else. But, you know, nowhere to go but forward. And it's like when I completed archaeology and WoW, man. It's like the only way to get it done is to just get in here and get it done. Like, there's no magic bullet or anything, right? I'm not gonna be able to get anyone else to do this for me. I mean, I'm not gonna say no if one of you guys wants to come in and help out a little bit, but like, so far I've done all of this on my own, so it's gonna have to be what it's gonna be. And the only way to get it done is to just get it done. All right. All right. But that being said, you know, it was just, I just wanted to hop in and kind of show you guys the progress. It's been chill. I mean, it's not as frustrating as it's been, because I've been trying to focus on the CMM stuff. As frustrating as it's been, I feel like I have gotten a lot done. And, you know, I have been spending most of my time just watching The Expanse on my Sega monitor. It's been a while since I watched it for the first time, and I wanted to do another watch through of it, so I've been doing that. Well, and once The Expanse is done, I don't know what I'll move back on to. Probably some more K-dramas. I've been trying to watch Strong Girl Nom soon, but I've fallen behind a little bit on that since I started the Expanse pack up. I need to start the new season of The White Lotus, but I don't know if I'm going to wait until it's all done or if I'm just going to go ahead and start it. Same with Yellow Jackets. I've heard Yellow Jackets, I don't know. Second season was kind of spinning its wheels a little bit. Like I'm not as super invested in the adult timeline as I am like the teen timeline, which I feel like is just the general concept of it is also a lot more interesting when you're going full Lord of the Flies versus some weird intrigue going on with the adults, right? It's just not as interesting just on its face with the adult timeline as it is with the kids, but I did like it, so I do want to see if maybe it's kind of back to pulling on its strengths a little bit. I am curious how everything goes out. Right now, I think White Lotus is my bigger interest. I do really like the White Lotus. It's a good show. With that being said, you know, I just wanted to hop in. I wanted to say hello. I wanted to say hi. Let you guys know what's going on with the progress and why we're not doing Rebirth tonight. It's as much like a paperwork update stream as it is anything else, just to kind of touch base with everyone. But we'll be back, you know, hopefully tomorrow afternoon after I'm done with my shift. It's just an early afternoon shift, and then we've got the entire week off. So we can start in, hopefully, as long as my voice is holding up, tomorrow evening. Get back into Rebirth and have some fun with that. But I think for tonight, I'm going to go ahead and call it. Maybe take another... Maybe take some more allergy meds and just pass back out or something. You know, enjoy whatever weird dreams I conjure up, right? And kind of go from there. But again, you know, that's kind of my thoughts on colonization now that we're a few days into it. You know, I think overall, I like the concept of what we're doing, but they definitely need to adjust the numbers and you know, fix some of the frustration with it. Because yeah, the actual gameplay loop itself is kind of whatever. And it's not all that engaging unless you just really like hauling like I do. I would not wish this amount on anybody. But that's going to be it for today. You know, we'll see you at some point in the next couple of days. Just follow, like, subscribe, hit me up on the blue skies, and that way you kind of notice whenever I put up the live notifications. And that being said, I hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.